see. Yeah, I've got a company called Good Side Photo, and this is kind of what I'm going to talk about, being a freelancer and how that's challenging and some things that really have worked well for me as a freelancer. So I became a photographer in 2007. That's when I kind of took it seriously, tried to figure out how to learn my craft a little bit more. I worked for other studios and other photographers, and by the time I got to 2018, I was like, man, I think I can do this myself. Why am I making money for other people? So I cut out the middleman, and I started my own business. And that business is working with other businesses, providing portraits, headshots, event photography, and like website content assets, stuff like that. So working with other businesses. Because being a photographer is tricky. Lots of times, or what I was learning, is that you'll get a client, you'll photograph them, you never see them again. You do a headshot for an individual, that's it, you're done. So I need to figure out ways to keep it going so that I could do this full time. I didn't have to do any side gigs. I didn't have to run for concerts or stuff like this. I could just be a photographer. Oh yeah, we're over here. These are some of the clients that I've ended up working with. And again, there are clients that use me on a regular basis, not just one and done, see you later, because I try to figure out, again, what is going to make them hire me again. Like, sure, I did the event, but are they going to hire me for the event again? Are they even going to have another event? Maybe they're going to do something else that I could do. So that's why I kind of came up with the 3 things that worked well for me. Because the things that I was looking for in clients, and I made a conscious goal for myself, is I want to find 10 clients, and these clients got to use me all the time. So they need photography on a regular basis. So how do I find those people? Also, they know that great photography is worth it. You know, if they're telling me I can do this with my phone, they probably can't, you know? So I'm going to have to prove to them that their phone isn't as good as me. And the most important part, that they pay the rate that I ask for. I learned, you know, early on is, you know, I'd say yes to a job and I'd do it for $50. And then all of a sudden you're starting to become the $50 guy. People they expect you to be $50. So one thing I'll say about Ami helped me big time in turning my mindset around, which I'll get to a little bit more. But once I realized that you can figure out, once I felt what my worth was and how I was actually helping people, I realized that it wasn't the $50. It was worth more to them. So I had to learn to see that in myself, right? So it was a big thing for me to change my mindset of knowing that, oh, wait, I'm actually pretty good. People are hiring me. So I started to raise my rate a little bit, and they didn't push back. So the next client came, and then I raised my rate again, and they didn't push back. So the next guy came, and I raised my rate, and I started to realize, like, well, if someone starts to push back on me, all of those people, they paid the rate that I want, so I'm going to say no. And that was a big lesson for me, learning to say no to the things that wasn't worth it to me, you know? But that was just a little challenge that I gave to myself. It's like, just bump it up a little bit more next time. And if nobody's pushing back, then there's a reason for that, because they're seeing the value in it too. So these are the people I want to stick with. I want to keep working with them. So this is a client that I got, PDS, they're an event company, and a friend of mine referred me to them. And if I think back, I bet you every single job I've ever gotten was a referral at some point. So my marketing is referrals. Making sure everybody I know knows I'm a photographer. They know what kind of photography I do and who I work with. Because a client will come to me and say, hey, I got a wedding coming up. You want to shoot the wedding? Well, I don't shoot weddings. I don't like that kind of pressure. It's weird to me. So I refer them to Greg, and Greg does them. But that's also good for me too, because the client looks at me and says, you know what he did was pretty good, you know, like he didn't take the job because we gave him the job. He referred me to someone that was going to do the job. So the next time they needed a photographer, they still came back to me and said, hey, we got this other photography job. So anyways, on to this here. This company I was referred to for an event, so I went in. A friend of mine said, hey, Ryan's a nice guy. Let's give him a chance. So I went in, shot the job for them. They were happy with the results. You know, I had good rapport with them. We chatted. We made some jokes. We laughed. And then I mentioned to them, you know, if you guys are ever updating your website, you should bring me in and do your staff photos. They already had the rapport with me. They thought I was a nice person. I thought they were nice, and I wanted to work with them again because I knew that they valued good photography. They were paying a rate that I asked for, and they needed photography constantly. So I needed to build this relationship a bit more, right? So they did. They brought me in, and I shot all their staff, and I continue to work with them this day. And I still, if I can't work a job, I'll refer another photographer to them that I trust and I know is going to do a good enough job. They still come back to me every single time. So that's kind of relationships that I'm trying to build with my clients. Another one was the other way around. I was referred by another photographer to come in and do staff headshots for a company that was growing massively. They were redoing their whole website. And so we talked. They needed a lot of headshots, so I got in and I photographed. I mean, there's a lot of people at this company, and I hang out with each one of them for 15, 20 minutes to do their headshots with them. So by the time I've done a couple days of this, the HR marketing person's coming to me, oh, you're getting really good feedback. Everybody's really liking you, making them feel comfortable in front of the camera. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got an in now. They like me. They're coming in telling me that they like me. They're telling me that everybody in the company is having a good time. It's working out. So I mentioned to them, if you guys are having an event, you should bring me in as a photographer. Everybody in the company already knows who I am. So as soon as I stepped into that event room, everybody's comfortable with me. I'm allowed to get the candid shots. People aren't sucking in their bellies and being like, oh, the photographer's over there. They know that they've worked with me at one-on-one, so they know that I'm trying to get the best photo of them as possible. So immediately, that's my sell to the company. They're comfortable with me. You're going to see, you know. So they brought me in. I shot some events for them. And now this HR person is saying, hey, we got this photographer. Everybody really likes him. He did the headshots. He did all these event photos, pushes me onto the marketing department. And now I've been introduced to a whole new branch of the company to fulfill a bunch of content that they need. So again, it was my ability to go up to them and say, hey, I'm not just this, but I also do this. And that's one part of it, but the other part of it is you got to be nice. You know, you got to be easy to work with. So, what do we got here? So again, I'm just reiterating here, why should they work with me? Number one, you know, again, these are all sells to my clients. Once I'm in, I'm talking to them, you know, we've got good rapport. I know I want to work with them, so I'm going to try and work more with them. It's going to keep consistent, especially if they're using photography all the time. You're going to want to use the same person, because what they're going to do is they're going to trust me. All they do is call me, tell me the date, I show up, that's it. So they don't have to worry about it. They know what they're getting already. So that's a sell to them. Again, with the staff, they all know who I am. You know, if I saw them at the grocery store, we'd probably hang out and chat and catch up and stuff like that. And that's important because now when I walk into the event, like I said before, is they're just going to allow me to do what I'm trying to do, is get good photos of people just having a good time, right? It's a lot easier when you have that rapport with them. And again, it's just creating a working relationship, trying to be easy to work with, be easygoing. But again, like you mentioned, number one thing is you're walking into that room and you're the expert. You're taking control of the scenario. And that's why they're trusting me, because they see me as the professional. They see me as the expert. They're not questioning everything I do because I'm delivering work that impresses them, right? So it's important to be a nice person, but also do good work. So my takeaways are, is this thing just going crazy behind me here? Cool. So my takeaways are, when I'm working with a client, I want to discover other ways that I'm valuable to them. So I kind of sorted out, you know, it took me 10 years to get to a point where I'm thinking, okay, this is what I can do for people, and this is how I'm going to work it, and this is how I'm going to talk to them and sell myself to them. So I'm figuring out ways that I can work with businesses through my 10 years of previous experience working with other photographers, other studios and stuff. You'll figure out what you're good at. People are going to tell you, and what you like the most. Those are the things you're going to be good at. But again, the number one thing I say is be the expert. You know what I'm talking about. But the biggest thing, and I said at the beginning that I worked with Ami, and Ami changed my mindset on one major thing, is I spent a decade of my life thinking, I'm an artist, I'm a photographer, that's what I'm going to be, that's what I'm going to do. As soon as I worked with Ami, it didn't take very long when I changed my mindset to say, well, I'm a business. I need to act like a business. I need to let my clients know that I'm a business. Because the creative stuff, like, I got that shit in the bag. It's not a big deal anymore. I spent a lot of time making sure I was good at it. So as soon as I changed my mind to being a business and approached everything that I took with my photography, with that type of photography, I turned it into my business. And things changed literally within, 2-3 months. All of a sudden, I was full-time. I ditched all the side gigs and everything. It seems really simple, but it was just that thing of like making sure you got the bank account, making sure you got the name registered, making sure you're branding yourself, and doing all these little steps. But essentially, I take all this experience I've had of building this for myself, and I've helped a few friends start their own, but it has nothing to do with photography, not even creative stuff, and I've helped them start their own businesses to do the thing that they're into with just simply changing your mindset and being like, well, I'm not the thing, I'm the business owner, and I'm going to step into it like that. And you immediately see how people treat you different, and it's a big part of being the expert. It's the same, hand in hand, just like that. So that's what I got to say. Good luck, everyone. There's some links of my business work and my personal work. If you want to be in touch, go for it. I'm happy to talk about all this stuff. I love talking about it. So, okay, enjoy the pizza.